Well, hello, she's right? Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Relentless Talk Radio. This is take 2. I changed my copy. Oh my God, we're having a morning this morning. So this is Relentless Talk Radio. This is the Video Lab, an entrepreneur's guide to evolving online. Scott Warren and I, videographer, and I are going to talk about creating a blueprint and a storyboard for your business video that you're doing. This is part 2 of a 2-part series. So I just signed back out to make sure that I had the copy in the description for this episode correct. And there is a link to last Thursday's copy of the storyboard number 1. So go check that out. So if you haven't watched that one. But Scott, what are we going to talk about today?
Yeah, so this is a bit of a continuation from the last episode. So if you haven't seen the last episode, I suggest going back, because a lot what we're talking about today is a continuation from that. So it's a building block from that episode. So you highly recommend you checking it out. I mean, Michelle, you told me after we signed off the show on the last episode, like how going through that process of building out that blueprint, it was putting you in a position where you were thinking about things that you weren't really thinking about the brand, the Relentless Talk brand, that sort of thing. So it's a very valuable exercise, because if you get anything from it, it's forcing you in a position where you're stepping outside of your tunnel vision about your business. And we all get it as business owners, and having you step outside of that and think about things about your business and what you want to position it as, and your vision from a different angle. And I think we need that sometimes, because we get that tunnel vision, and it's hard for us to see outside of that. And this exercise helps you with that, so you can build a stronger brand or business and your mission and your goals.
I think it also makes you think about what your purpose for the video is in a different way.
Yeah.
Because I think we get caught in ways of thinking about our business that are not necessarily attached to revenue.
Right.
And so we start to think more about the daily tasks of things and the service of things, which is not a bad thing. But by really doing this exercise, it made me think about, where am I building? And we use Relentless Talk Radio as an example. For me, the big build right now is in followers, because everything after that, once there's more followers, then there's more of everything, right? So it was good for me to step back and see where I'm wanting to convert and why, by doing the exercise.
Yeah, I think it's an incredibly important thing. And I one of the biggest things I want to get across this whole process is trying to put this together in a way that it's easily digestible for all you small business owners out there. But even if you have a larger size business where you have you're fortunate enough to have a marketing person or even a department that can help you, where you don't have to take on that task of creating the marketing collateral, the video, the images and whatnot. It's still a great exercise to go through as a business owner, because again, it's about stepping outside of that tunnel vision that you have, and being more connected to your why. Why are you doing this? Why are you providing a service? Why are you providing the product? And that's going to carry through your messaging in the promo video. This is all to serve as a guide and to make it less daunting of a task and less intimidating. And we want to be able to share that with you, because it doesn't matter what type of camera you're using. It doesn't matter, how much experience you have. It's about you putting together a cohesive message that's central to your brand, your why, and then getting that promo out there for the folks to help you create more business and build more awareness.
I think we're all at heart storytellers.
We are.
Some people are like just a little better at it, a little more animated, a little more organized about it. We all have that friend that they stop the party because they're telling a really great story, right?
Right.
But we all love to tell stories. And I think that one of my favorite stories is the story of entrepreneurism. So I obviously love it so much, I do it for free. You know what I mean? Like I love talking about entrepreneurism so much. I just do it, Yeah. So it's good to take responsibility for your storytelling skills.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I think it's probably one of the most common denominators of just humans in general through time is, I mean, how is history told? History is told through stories.
Right.
And we all connect to a story, and that's how you're able to build your following or build more potential leads for your business, because people don't buy from businesses, they buy from people. And
Right.
that's kind of the central
They like
tenet.
know and trust. And what's cool about video, and I think it's even more so today, I've noticed it, because we used to have just regular telephone calls, but now I actually want to do a Zoom with everybody because I want to see their facial expressions. I want to see how they move. I want to, it's, God bless Zoom, 160% growth in a very short period of time.
Oh yeah.
Good for them. So what are the basic shot types of
Yeah.
video?
Yeah. So let's jump into it. You know, I want to and these are just very foundational things. This isn't complex. Obviously, as um, you know, experienced career producers and cinematographers and stuff like that. Obviously, there's nuances. There's more details into the types of shots. But we're not. The purpose of this is not to get into the nitty gritty of all that. We want to give you a basic understanding, so there's some terminology that you can understand, right?
Right.
So if you Michelle, if you don't mind, share my screen with you, because I put together a few slides to help explain.
I'm just so excited about how, see if you can blow your screen up a little bit, just a hair. Like,
I don't think it's going to. Here, why don't we just remove me from it?
move, let's see. Well, no, we can't remove you from it because then we can't hear you.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
I'm really grateful I learned that pre this
Oh,
episode.
here, let me zoom in. Let me just zoom in a little bit then. Zoom.
There. Oop.
Okay, that's not going to work.
Yep. That's good.
We'll just roll with it. Okay. All right. So there's basically what I want to get across: 4 basic shot types that I want you, or terms that I want you to have a quick understanding of. All right. So first is the wide shot. All right. So this is what in the film world it's also called the establishing shot, right? So it's usually your first image that you want to show on screen. Okay. And so obviously, as you can see in the text, the shot is set back to show the entire area. If a person is in the shot, they're fully visible, head to toe, and it's often used to convey where something is taking place. Like I said, also called an establishing shot. You want to establish. So the establishing shot is going to take place in a scene where the next corresponding shots are going to be still established in that same place.
Yeah.
But they may be like a medium shot or a close shot, which I'll get to here in a second, right? So
I'm thinking about Easy Rider on the top of my head because I've got my motorcycle on my brain.
Right. Yeah. So if you look at,
go back and watch Easy Rider and see what the first shot was.
Like, and it's a very basic formula. You want to go wide and then go closer, then closer, then closer, then wide, then closer and closer. That's the basic formula. And if you watch a movie, it happens like that. Obviously, it's more nuanced in that type of setting, but the basic foundation of that is they never go to a new scene without setting a new establishing shot. Okay. That's your wide shot. Okay. So whether it may be at a building or maybe it's like someone taking a hike up a mountain, you want a wide shot of that, the mountain, and maybe you can see the person, on the trail.
You're a business owner with a brick and mortar. You want a picture of your
exactly. You want a wide shot of your building.
And you have trucks out in the field. You want to see a truck in front of a house.
Yeah.
If you're a landscaping company, same kind of deal, right? You want to show like a bunch of. Let me tell you that the place where I'm living now, the garbage folks, are amazing. They get paid by the job, how many houses they stop at. So they are running. If I was, doing that company, I would be behind them in the car doing a wide angle shot of these guys running from house to house. That'd be the first thing I would show. I mean, it's amazing, and they all have huge smiles on their faces, which is
right.
awesome. I'm like,
Yeah,
I go out there and cheer. I'm like, it's a marathon every morning.
that's that's so funny. Well, they're probably getting reception.
Like,
Right. That's so funny. Yeah. So for an example for that, like I would probably maybe the opening shot would be a wide shot down the street of the truck pulling up to the house, right?
Yeah.
As they're getting off and that sort of thing.
Right.
Let's go to the next one here. Let's go to the medium shot.
Yep.
All right, so it's basically a person from about their waist up. The example shot I have in here is cropped in a little bit more. This is where that nuance comes in. There's a range, just at least from the waist up is kind of what you're looking at here.
Not like close up face like we are right now, but
no. Yeah, you want to be able to get a mixture of facial expressions and body language within the frame of that shot, right?
I'm taking notes. Just
hey,
everybody listening should take notes.
I hope, yeah, exactly.
I'll come back and listen later, but I think taking notes is good.
Absolutely, it helps you remember it too. Okay, right. So I mean that's pretty straightforward. Waist up, boom, right?
Yeah.
Next shot, close up. Okay, so now this is obviously you're going a little bit tighter than a medium shot, right? So it's a crop shot, maybe someone's face, or maybe it's a particular object. You're not so close. You're getting all
it's the garbage guys actually picking up their hands reaching around the handles to pick up something, tossing it into the back of the.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, and then the last one is the extreme close up. Okay, so this has a couple different uses. Obviously, on the right, you see the really tight close up of the flower. Right, and you can see the detail. All right, and it's a really good shot if you have a business that you're a product-based business,
right? And
you have features that you want to showcase. So obviously, in my case, for my clothing line, I have one of my core products is some of my T-shirts. They have fibers are moisture wicking. And so a great extreme close-up shot with that would be to drop some droplets of water on the fabric and get a close-up shot of the water beating off the fabric. And now in the case of if you're maybe you're doing an interview with a person or you're shooting B-roll with a person and there's a really strong impact. It's literally B-roll. It's basically your interview. Say like you're interviewing like this right now. Our interview is what we would call A-roll, right?
Okay.
And the B-roll
is another
is what you cut over your interview. As I continue talking, it cuts to a shot of us talking about something related. A shot of someone doing something related to what the person is saying.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so. Extreme close-ups on people are really great. So a common one is a really, really close-up shot of someone's eyes. And maybe they're doing that to convey a certain emotion or feeling you want the viewer to have. Right. It's usually used quite a bit when there's something very serious being talked about or discussed, or some type of like sad moment, or it just depends on what your use of that is going to be. So, but that's it. 4 basic shot types. That's pretty straightforward and self-explanatory on what you want to use.
So the thing that is going through my mind as you're sharing is, I think sometimes we get so caught up in the pressure of doing something new that we lose the fun of it. Yeah. Like I'm smiling because I'm thinking, well, this is kind of fun. I mean, it's fun to think about the things that you could place in these 4 different shots.
Right. And remember,
I love it. Like, the beaded water on the fabric is like, I remember when I was at Revlon, I was in charge of photo shoots, and I really know how to place lipstick so it looks appealing.
Yeah, right.
Right. But just, if I were making a video, I would think about maybe put, the actual putting lipstick on, the pulling of the cap off, the rolling up of the lipstick. Every woman it's a ritual for them to do that, So, with really nice manicured nails and rolling the lipstick up. So just thinking about the different features and the message that you want to convey is actually fun. It's like building a puzzle.
It totally is.
Labor, which is like, I don't know. It's not my favorite thing. You know what I mean?
You're absolutely correct. Listen, like if there's one thing I can get across to all you folks out there right now, is there are feature films being shot on iPhones that are
Yeah,
being
I mean, Lady
featured at
Gaga's
film
recent
at
commercial was on her iPhone, right?
right. I mean, there's music videos. Spike Jones, if everybody knows who Spike Jones is, he shot Kanye's West video a couple years ago completely on his iPhone. Okay, it doesn't matter. Don't
Well,
get stressed out
the
about
iPhone
about
now
the
with
quality.
these
You just got to shoot it.
cameras on it is amazing.
Yeah, you can shoot 4K on an iPhone now. Okay, and it's like I said, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about quality. The message. Use the blueprint. Get your message and your story tight, and don't worry about the quality. Just get it shot and get it done.
Well, I've talked about this often with when I made a decision to take back Relentless Talk Radio off of the of internet radio being the initiator of the
Yeah.
show, and I moved it onto Facebook. I made a decision to use Be Live, and sometimes, depending upon the situation, it's not a perfect deal. I also don't worry too much about writing. We have a general idea what we're going to say, but we kind of have impromptu speaking skills on because I think that's where the magic happens when people have conversations. Yeah. And we just recently did the LLS video, and you picked up on the impromptu-ness and the emotion of those interviews. And although there is one thing that I noticed, I'm going to stop doing this when I'm talking to people.
No, but I think that's good because, like, if you're talking to someone, we're having a conversation, and this is just natural in any conversation that we have. Like, yeah, it's to give. You have to give visual cues to who you're talking to. That hey, I'm listening, I'm comprehending to what you're saying. So I don't have a problem with it. I think I think we can't help that.
When one of my friends watched this, and Michelle look like a bobble doll, and I'm like, gosh, I really do. I think I need to get a bobble doll that does that. But it's good to notice the things that you do that maybe you might want to shift or change. But being genuine is far more. When I was at Social Media Marketing World last year, that was overwhelmingly the message that was given, is that being genuine and authentic is what people are interested in. Your quality. And that being said, it doesn't mean that there's not room for hiring someone like yourself to do a quality video. But don't let that slow you down if your budget doesn't allow.
Exactly. I mean, I think
to be honest, all of our budgets are like, maybe not all of them, just 4 people. Right. I just spoke with one of the gym owners, one of the big gym owners, and I was so impressed prior to the COVID, like the Google, right? COVID. Just new locations popping up everywhere. And I've been driving by those locations and just adding up the lease amounts and just thinking, oh my gosh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the genuine, I hope to have a genuine conversation with that individual on Relentless Talk Radio, because I think people are interested in really knowing how people are really responding to this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a unique opportunity to create video and create a story. So what are some of the terms that you wanted to tell us about?
So go ahead and share my screen again, and we'll go over a couple shot type examples. Okay. All right. So obviously, setting background. It's your first image. You want to have an image, whether you're using stock images, stock video. There's a lot of resources out there to utilize. You want to have, and this is where that establishing shot comes into place, right? This is the wide shot, a specific area, location that helps you set up the backstory or helps establish what that first, what we would call the scene be, right? Because your next 2 or maybe 3 shots after that are going to be, using one of the other shot types within that same scene. Okay, so you want to set that up. The next one is a person to camera, right? So this is either an interview or a shot of a person standing basically facing, looking at the camera with about a medium shot, so about waist up from there. All right, so this is a product or service in motion. This is another shot type. So this is important because regardless if it's a service or a product-based business, you want to show people how your product or service is being used. Okay. Use
Right.
cases. That's huge because people want to connect the dots. It's like you are XYZ business. You are solving this XYZ problem. Here is my
So
solution.
that garbage
How is it being used? What's that?
with the garbage collection company here where I'm living, we would want to show happy people with empty garbage cans.
Right. Like you don't have to worry. Like, your waste management is not something you need to be concerned about because we have it taken care of.
Right.
Easy peasy,
So
right?
backyard with empty garbage cans that are clean and pristine. The
Right.
owner taking the garbage can and placing
Right.
it where it goes.
Exactly.
And perfect. The lid is on. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, you want to show it's simple.
I
All you
company. Dang it.
right? It's like all you basically, you want to show the ease of it, right?
Right.
All you have to do just roll your can out on whatever day you're assigned, and it's that easy, and you walk away, that sort of thing. So product and service in motion.
You know what's even cooler? There's garbage cans that are built into the ground with lids on the ground, so that if you have just a small amount of garbage, you put it into that garbage can, so you don't even have garbage cans above ground.
Wow, I've never seen that before.
Isn't that cool? So
Yeah.
the only time I put out bigger garbage cans is when I've had a bigger garbage week, right? So it literally, like, there's no eyesoreness at all about the garbage thing.
That would be awesome because
ground.
There are weeks I forget to roll my recycle bin out.
Yeah.
And then it's overflowing the next week.
Awful, right? So I just put my garbage from a daily basis into that one garbage thing, and if I have more, I roll out my cans. So
wow, that's pretty cool.
I have to reach out to this company. I'm convinced.
Okay, so let's push forward. All right, so product feature, a close-up shot that features a specific part of the product. You want to give people a good look at the product. Okay, so obviously, if you're a service-based business, this one may not be applied to you, but this is huge for product-based businesses. You want to give folks an opportunity to see the.
You can use still shots for this too, right? It doesn't all have to be video. We just did this with the Relentless Talk Radio, where we were splicing between the interviews we did on Relentless Talk Radio and an image of Mr. Rideout in the hospital.
Yes, absolutely.
That image really got me because he was curled up on his side and he was so pale, and he got the huge dark circles under his eyes with leukemia.
Wasn't that like the impact of that shot?
Compelling. I mean, it just literally, my heart, I started to bawl. You know what I mean? Like,
right. And I mean, so you don't necessarily have to have video in all it could be a mix. All this could be a mix. Like I've done videos where it's been completely 100% stock images and stock video that I've used.
Right. And that's really a good point, because if you're taking images, like I love the portrait feature on the iPhone.
Right.
Because that's exactly what I would use when I had a photographer come in. My undergraduate was in photography, but I was in charge of organizing the photo shoots, which was really cool. I didn't have to worry about the camera. I worried about the setup. And so you could take a picture of a lipstick with a rose and some little diamond pieces and blur the background out. But you can do that right now on your iPhone with the portrait feature. So in this particular product shot, you could take let's say you're a cupcake company. You could just take a cupcake, put it on a little pedestal with some fabric, put a little daisy in front of it, and and take a close-up picture of it with your iPhone. It blurs the background out, and there's your product shot.
Yep. Yeah. And
literally 3 seconds to do that.
It doesn't take that long to do that. So you just want to make sure that you give the folks a clear product-only image so they can see the product, right?
Mm-hmm.
And don't want to get too close, because that's not the purpose of this, because the next shot will be about the details, as I explained earlier. So, and then now we have the extreme close-up and this is where you're going to highlight some of those intricate details, the craftsmanship of your product. Every business that sells a product, you're probably going to have a list of 3 or 4 product features, right? So those are the ones that you want to try to capture and to really show off those details. Okay. And that can be done with images and video.
This really is kind of like you've invited someone to your new home and you're giving them a tour of your home.
Yeah.
And of course, the first thing you always do is show them the living room and the kitchen and what a great party space it is, right? And here's my patio and look at my great yard. But then you're like, oh my God, it has a convection oven. Come take a look at this.
Right.
You show the convection oven and you say, because I have one of those now and I'm super excited about it. I'm showing it to my mom yesterday. I open the door, I show her, on a video. So really what you're doing is you're taking the big view of here's my new home and here's all the amazing features that are so cool about being a family in it. And here's some of the really great details that I really love about it. Like this washing machine is great, and this convection oven is great. And so you're just rolling down to the details of it. Now, do you end on the extreme close up, or do you come back out pull out to the background?
No. So this is just basically giving a run through of some basic terminology and types of shots. Now that's not going to these aren't done in this particular order. Okay. You'll see when we jump into the template, the storyboard template, how we use the five or so elements from the blueprint and we begin to drop those into the storyboard template.
This now, are we going to do the template today, or are we going to do that another episode?
No, let's just we'll do 3. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory once you kind of figure it out, because like if you're properly using the blueprint we talked about in the last episode, it's just plug in and go, right? And it's like, the storyboard, it's just a guide, okay? It's an outline. It can be as detailed and shot by shot if you want it to be, but obviously as business owners, we don't have time to spend that much dedication. When I take a client, I usually go into that sort of detail for my internal purposes and my creative purposes. But as when we're small business owners, we don't have the time to dedicate, and obviously it becomes overwhelming. And I don't want that for the audience out there. The purpose is to allow you to have enough of a foundational comfort to put something together and then go out and get it done. Okay.
Yep.
So let me jump over to the template real quick. Okay. So I kind of pre-built some of the stuff. Just real quickly. This is, like I said, it's a framework. You don't have to, you're trying to find images. You may already have images that you use. You can plug those in to kind of serve as kind of your inspiration shot. This is like a mood board type of thing. It doesn't have to be exact. Just find images through Google search, Unsplash, if your own image library, if you have it, of just kind of like the look and feel, the type of shot that you want to achieve when you go to shoot. Okay. So we'll start with this. Okay. So say this is for Relentless Talk Radio. All right. And we used the show for the blueprint last time around. Okay. Let's start with a setting background shot, right? So the element is Michelle's. We will do an interview with you, and in that interview, we want to use just the audio of you talking about where you were at in life prior to starting Relentless Talk Radio. So, like, I want to find an image for that, and I already have one that I searched for.
You pulled all on your own. You did some stalking.
I did, but I went and I just used a where to go? There we go. I used unsplash.com. And there.
Unsplash and unsplash.com.
Yep, unsplash.com. It's okay. So the great thing about unsplash.com is it's a worldwide community of professional, amateur, hobbyist photographers, where you can upload images that you take.
Love it.
And it's completely free for anyone to use. Full right, like Creative Commons. They just, you have the option to attribute it to the photographer if you like, but you do not have to. High resolution images. It's got a wide range. It's my first place I go to when I'm looking for stock images.
Because it gets them exposure, which is what I do with all of my photographers on Relentless Talk Radio. All of my photographers, I tag them on everything, and they pick up work because of the exposure they get by working with me.
Absolutely. And it's, you know, obviously it's great, but I mean, you'll start, if the more you use Unsplash, you start to see just in like your daily life how many people utilize their photography for their websites, for social media, for, you know, a wide range of things, because it's a great resource.
Actually amazing work. We checked it out together one day. It's really amazing work.
It's, yeah, and it's, you get some very artistic work. I mean, like I said, you get some of these are probably really well-known photographers that are uploading their images for free, 100% for free to use. No license boundaries or anything that are acquired by it. So it's usually the first place I go, because it's slightly better.
They're gonna come back and they love your work. They're gonna buy it.
Right. Well, and it's like they're better. Like some of the stock images sites are, you know, they're like, you can tell they're obviously stock images. But what's nice about Unsplash,
cardboard.
Yeah, and what's nice about Unsplash is you get a little bit more artistic creativity and then flair in some of those images. So it's a nice alternative to the standard, you know. So that's where I start, and then I go to some of my stock image resource sites as I go.
We always try to give a tool or an application that people can tap into. So there's a tool or application that you maybe didn't know about prior to this episode. So good value.
Good, because I forgot to come up with one today.
Yeah, we just did. Not really.
Okay, so it's really cool, and you know, so you use Google Images, Unsplash, a stock site, your own library, and that's like, all right, so we want to set this first scene. So I picked a setting background shot, okay, and then we'll be using your interview VO to kind of explain where you were at prior to starting Relentless Talk Radio.
Right.
So the next would be a wide shot, and I'm continuing on with that scene. And since you are a motorcycle, I don't know, I'm sorry, I don't know even what the proper term for you're a biker, you know.
I got some good biker chick images for you that Jillian Millam from early Morning Light Studio just took of me on Silver, my 2012 Harley Davidson Road Glide.
Oh, awesome.
She's
awesome. So again, like I said, this may not be the exact image that you want to shoot, but this gets the message across of what I want to look and feel and hit with what we're going with the story, right? And so this is a continuation of that backstory. Okay.
Question. Well, I'm looking for the Spike Jones and Kanye West video. Was it for the Only One video?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
I'm going to just go ahead and share that in the feed so people can check it out, because I think that's what it is.
Okay.
You're wrong.
It was basically what it probably was, if it has him and Kim Kardashian in it, that's the one that he shot on an iPhone.
Well, I'll let people to kind of troll this and they can figure it out on their own. But
okay, cool. All right, and then let's go into where you then begin talking about some of the niche problems that led you to seeing that opportunity to start a Relentless Talk Radio show, where you're helping that, right? So again, the text or copy I put down here in the video elements section right now, it's just because we haven't shot the interview yet.
Yeah. So those are just the notes that you're giving yourself to be able to remember what we want to put there.
Yeah, it's basically your first draft of like a script. If you have, if you were going to go that direction, that'll help guide.
What are you doing right now? What application are you working in?
This is whatever Google, was it called Slides? Google Slides. It's a PowerPoint basically.
Okay, so there you go. There's another application. So if you don't have PowerPoint, you can't afford it, or you don't want to have it, Google Slides. I didn't see. There you go. See.
Yeah. Well, and what's cool about Google Slides? Okay, so if you build this out in Google Slides, and one cool thing about that, so I'm ready to say, for instance, I'm ready to place my image in there. One option I can do is go to Insert Image and go search the web, and you can do a Google image search directly in Google Slides.
Google is just a bunch of crazy ass nerdy people just with so much time on their hands to figure out.
Yeah. So and then so you can select an image and insert it directly into the slide straight from Google Slides without leaving the application whatsoever. That's what I was doing first. I didn't find what I liked, so I went to Unsplash as my next step. So
now those Google images, some of them are copyrighted though, right? Or does it only choose ones that aren't copyrighted?
Well, if you're for internal purposes, it doesn't matter. Okay, so if you're putting, and I like obviously
basically like our doodle. It's like our doodle on the cocktail napkin.
Yeah. Anything that is internal that you don't plan on blasting out into the public, you don't have to worry about that. But at the moment you put something out where public eyes can see, and if you're trying to generate money off of, that's when you're getting into licensing problems, and you need to make sure you have the proper license for the image or shots or video content, or music, sound effects, whatever it may be you're using. So
I think that it's important to mention that because we're so busy stealing from each other on social media lately.
Right.
That, you know, if you're going to make a professional video, you really do want to protect yourself from having a legal issue where you get sued for copyright infringement, or also you want to be respectful to the people that are making a living creating these images.
100%, right. And so you want to make sure anything that you're using, you have the proper license to use. So there's a lot of resources out there for, you know, no royalty music sites, like Audio Jungle, and several other ones out there where you pay a one-time flat fee for the use of the music, and you can use it for that specific purpose. You know, and when you're working with images, .net, I believe.
Oh, let me check.
I use it so much that I don't even remember what.
It just comes up automatically, right?
It does. So okay. That's just one. So anyways, let me go ahead and so in this part, we're going to be talking about the niche problem, right? The niche thing that is going to lead to Relentless Talk Radio being a solution. And so let me go ahead and insert. All right. And so I added this image, and I found this image. It wasn't exactly what I could find, but I thought it illustrated the point I wanted to get across in terms of the niche problem. And how that will then lead to Relentless Talk Radio providing a community, a inspiration by talking to people authentically about the lives of being an artist, being an entrepreneur, seeking your health and fitness goals, and so forth and so on. And so basically what I'm doing, like, it's not taking a lot of time. You know, I go through this process, bouncing back and forth between my blueprint and then inserting the content from that blueprint into my video element here, and then taking 3 minutes to Google search, Unsplash search an image that I feel will help me guide me when I go to shoot them.
So, you know, as you're talking, I'm thinking about when I was in art school and also how I create art, right? So when I interview people and then I write a blog and then I make a painting, one of the first things I do is I Google the main concepts of what it is that I'm thinking about. Yeah. And I'll come up with many images that are just, you know, Google images. And then I take from those images, and that inspires me to make the painting. So, you know, for example, I did a painting for Elena Thornton, and she's a photographer, and I just used giant shutter behind her head because that was, you know, but the way I did that was by kind of Googling and getting inspired by just images coming up. Prior to the internet, I would sit on the floor in Barnes and Noble in front of, you know, let's say I was doing a piece on photographers. I would sit on the floor in front of the photography session. You know, flip through pictures, right?
Yeah.
Old lady, that's what I used to do, right? And that's what artists do when they're creating. And so what you're sharing with people, if you're not a creative and you haven't worked this way before, it might seem like, why are you bothering to take all that much time? But the reason why you're bothering to take all much of that time is that in the research of the images, it will inspire you to create the video and the stills that are going to be in alignment with your story. And
Yes.
every artist on some level or another does this. So
Absolutely.
Michelangelo, when he was making David, looked at a lot of pictures, and probably not pictures, it's Michelangelo, but he looked at a lot of bodies, and he had a lot of things that just inspired him, to be able to come up with the statue of David. That's how artists have worked from the beginning of time. So what you're saying is a creative skill that artists learn when you're in art school or you're in video school. This is probably a skill that you were taught in video school. And so if you're not a creative, it might seem like a lot of extra work, but it's the brainstorming piece of the work that makes your video tighter, because you're going to attach your mission to the images and the words. And by doing that, you're going to be able to compel authenticity and genuine knowledge of your product. And therefore, the video that you come up with is going to be far more compelling than if you didn't do this.
100%. And just remember that artists get inspired by other artists. And no matter what medium,
that's one
no
of
matter what medium you're in.
The video of Kanye West there is that when you start to think of yourself like, okay, I'm going to be creating something, it changes how you look at the world. And when I go to a movie, I'm going to be looking at the movie very differently based upon what you just taught me.
Yeah.
Or I watch any commercial or any other thing in the world, I'm going to be looking at it differently. So knowledge is power. And
Absolutely.
Original. I mean, everything has been done before. It's just how you choose to configure the things that are out there in the world and how you customize it to yourself. And in doing that, you might actually come up with something original, but it wasn't originally original, if that makes any sense, right?
Well, that's the biggest thing, is being able to put your fingerprint on it. So right. My recommendation is for all the business owners out there that are going to be like, okay, I think I'm going to try this. I'm going to try to take this on myself and see what I can do, is do a little digging first. Find other businesses that are in the same segment as you are, that have, and maybe they have like they've done a video, whether they hired someone to or not, but look at their video, watch it, and be like, okay. And you'll start to see kind of what that format is. And then you can use that as your template, right?
Right.
And then recreate that template for you, and just like, okay, well, here that's how you learn. That's how I learned. You know what I'm saying? Like, I learned when I was an editor in LA, coming up, as an entry-level person in post-production, and I'm mentoring with all these really awesome, amazing editors. A lot of them just told me, it's like, just copy what I do, so you learn kind of the flow and the rhythm of how I'm doing things. And then from there is how I was able to then create my own little techniques and my own little nuances to what I do.
And essentially, Sky, that's what Relentless Talk Radio is all about.
Absolutely.
So allowing people to see genuine, authentic conversations about people that are relentlessly pursuing their dreams, so that it would inspire them, it would lift them up and encourage them to just go out and discover their own whatever it is. You know what I mean? That's really essentially what I do every time I do a video, because I know that people think that, the video you pull it out of your butt. Like, it just comes out of nowhere, right? Poof. It's just, somehow someone's more gifted and it just naturally comes, but that's just not the truth. The truth is that it takes this type of interaction back and forth, either with others or in your own mind, to be able to create anything worth doing. And that it's messy and you get tongue-tied, and internet connection's slow, and there's all that stuff that slows you down. I'm thinking about doing, when I speak about being relentless, I had an image the other day of, every morning you wake up and there's just crap coming at you. You know what I mean? So on the stage, I'm going to have the first 2 rows of people have Nerf balls. And everybody just toss your Nerf ball at me, right? And it's going to hit me, and there's balls everywhere. It's going to be crazy, all different colors, right? And being very clear about your why, or, in this case, your blueprint. I'm going to have a cone of plexiglass lowered over me with the word storyboard or why, right. Maybe have it switched names, right? And then the next 2 rows, I'm going to have them throw their balls at me, and it's going to bounce off the Teflon.
Right.
And that's what your storyboard does. It allows you to keep your core essence of what your story is for your business and what you're trying to get at. And all those distracting things that come in that derail you bounce off the mission.
Absolutely. I mean, it just as long, if you can just keep that in mind, like it's just a guide. It's not right. You may figure out along the way, like, oh, well, there's something pops up and they're like, I think that this is going to work. But the purpose of it is to establish what your story is going to be, because that's what matters.
Right.
The storyboard or mood board, however you want to call it, is just to give you that sense of feeling and that a fairly close look of like, okay, I need this type of shot. Okay. And here's my image to kind of give me a reference point to example. It may not come out exactly like that. That's fine. Yeah. But I know what I'm going at. I have a focused approach to what I'm doing. So now you're not just trying to go out and aimlessly create a promo video. And that's when people give up, is because it becomes overwhelming. Right. And so that's why we did the episode with the blueprint. That's why we're doing this episode about the storyboard, is because it doesn't have to be that daunting. Remember, break it down into manageable chunks, focus on one chunk at a time. When it comes to the storyboard, focus on one slide at a time. Then at the end, you string those all together.
One bite at a time. I tell myself every day I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I have so much to do. And then I just have to look at my time block calendar, what my priorities are for the day, and eat that one elephant for that 2-hour time limit. I've got 2 hours to eat this particular elephant one bite at a time. Okay. And then I've got an hour to eat that elephant one bite at a time. And I'm going to eat as much of the elephant as I can in the time block that I have. Right. So it's time management is tough, and it really is about reeling your brain in to focusing on what it is that you need to focus. So Scotty, you and I could talk for like hours. We will never make it half an hour. This is 47 minutes.
I know. I tried so hard.
I know. What happens is we end up having a conversation about it, and that's what we should be doing. So that's good.
Right.
So go digital faster. If people want to know a little bit more about what we're doing, we're right now building a landing page where you can give us your email, and we will keep you in the loop about a membership-based site that we are building, Brandy, I, and Jillian, about video, photography, and just basic overall digital strategy. And so if you send me a PM and just say, hey, Michelle, when you get that email list going, please add me to it. GoDigitalFaster.com is the website in the future. We're building it right now. And then also, if you want to meet with Scotty and I and have a consultation about what was spoken about today, potentially hiring Scotty and I to help you to get your story situated and get it out there, that's also possible. You can go to meetwithmick.com. And you can, and I will scroll that across the bottom of the background here. And you can choose a consultation appointment for the Video Lab, and we will talk with you about how we can help or how to point you in the right direction. So go to meetwithmick.com and choose a consultation appointment with me and Scotty. So next time we come on, we're gonna talk about something different. We're gonna leave that up. We're gonna leave that a mystery until the second Thursday, dang it, of the month, where Scotty and I talk. And we start at 7 o'clock. We try to get in by 7:30, but dang it, we're 48 minutes in today. But whatever. And so if you're wanting to have the worksheets and the printed material that will help you jog your memory about what we talked about, then definitely send me a PM and say, hey, Michelle, please put me on the GoDigitalFaster.com email list. I want to know more about how I can get a hold of these worksheets and a deeper look into, helping me to get video rolling in my business. So
awesome. It was a great chat.
All right. Well, Scotty, good luck with the kidlet.
Thanks.
Daddy in motion, man. Brand new baby. A young man growing up, wife, the whole thing. Life is in session. So thanks for taking time out today. And this has been episode 7 of the Video Lab, an entrepreneur's guide of evolving online. We meet on the second and fourth Thursday at 7 a.m. every month. Scotty and I are talking about everything video and how you, the business owner, can create your own video or maybe make some informed decisions about hiring someone to do it for you. So Have a really great Thursday, everybody, and we'll see you again.
Bye.
Take
Bye,
care.
everyone.
Bye.